CEO Neil Mohan has just released his 4 big updates for YouTube for 2024. We're going to talk about those as well as what's going on in between the lines. YouTube, of course, is very important to the PPC world as it's the #1 aggregator of video content for Alphabet. The next thing is it's the second largest SEO platform outside of Google search. So I think it's a great place to start to discuss what's going to happen this year with this platform. So let's start with this first comment here. Since the very first upload, YouTube has opened up a new way to tell stories. Okay. What's interesting is that's the first paragraph. The second paragraph, he talks about today there are more than 3 million channels in the YouTube partner program. Okay. YouTube has paid out more than any other creator monetizing platform. Today we paid out 70 billion to other creators, artists, and media companies over the last 3 years. Okay, so over 3 years, they paid $70 billion to 3 million channels. If you do the math on this, folks, from what I see, that's about $23,000 per channel, right? So over 3 years, you divide that by 3, that's $7,200, $7,300, somewhere around there. Is that a lot? I don't know. That seems low to me, but in all things you have, right? You have like, I'm sure 10 or 20% of it make 80% of the money. So I wouldn't be shocked if like things like Mr. Beast, Vivo, and all these other creators are just making immense amount of money. Well, a lot of the other channels are, earning peanuts really. So, that was just a number I just wanted to backtrack once I heard that. Another thing that I don't know if this takes into account are superfan money, badges, channel memberships, etc. So something else to think about. Another thing he talks about is, this is good. Now generative AI is driving another evolution that raises critical questions about how we express creativity. AI is just everywhere. It's great that he addresses it heads on. I will say this: he has some really good AI tools, and I think this is like a taste of it. That's what he's basically talking about. But he also talks about critical questions, right? And he also talks about deep fakes down the road too. So in the same article. So and then he talks, really it's an election year, so you kind of take it to another extreme. But I do think as we do this, let's actually talk about the first bullet. AI will empower human creativity. And then he goes into the dream screen. This is very interesting. So I definitely challenge everybody here to check this out. So on this, the dream screen is basically you enter prompts and AI video or image background will appear on your short. So if you say like on this one, YouTube drinking coffee or a panda drinking coffee or a panda riding a bike or whatever, it'll be in the background and you can talk while it's in the background. I think that's kind of cool. The thing is though, I think these will get a little old. I think I think they're cool, but I don't know if I think after watching 6 months of these, I think I'd be like, okay, just show me throughout the beach, show me the beach, right? But I think it's cool. I kind of dig it. The next one is YouTube Create. This is where you change again the backgrounds, but you're able to make have soundtrack, add captions, basically like cool social proofing stuff, which I think is pretty cool. The next one is AI Insights. This is my speed. So this is basically a vidIQ killer. I mean, vidIQ is you're going into exactly what they do. So this actually prompts you on your channel to what you want to do. Like say so for me, and a lot of my content is meta blueprint. So if I say, hey, I want to make a meta blueprint on study, pre-study techniques, right? Like I would actually enter that in. It would actually give me video hints on it, right? Like, well, I'll say meta blueprint is, it's best if you study 2 to 3 weeks ahead and you dedicate an hour a day and all this stuff. So the fact it does that, I think is awesome. And I think it's going to do other things as well, but this is a great way to push people to create that content, right? And then here, keep going down. Another thing that's cool is this thing aloud. So this is auto dubbing. This is so cool. So this is the world's about to get a lot more smaller, folks. And this is again AI dubbing. This is AI. This is where it takes basically your voice and dubs it into like another language, which is Russian, Spanish, Chinese, or whatever. I think that's so cool. I think this is really cool because I think there's a lot of how tos on YouTube. So why not teach? I think that's actually really neat. The thing is, though, when it's actually dubbed, I'm kind of curious to see what my voice sounds like in, another another language. I think that's awesome. So good for this. I think this is really cool. Assistive search and creator music. Okay, that's there. And then I think it ends. It actually ends after that. So all these are really cool tool belts to spur creativity. I think these are the right directions for AI. I think this is a really cool way for people to really just involve themselves and do cool stuff. My favorite, though, of course, is making videos. So that AI, that assistance tool, I think was amazing. And like I said, I think it's really a vid IQ killer. And everybody knows what vid IQ is. That's how you make content. You actually enter like exactly that. You're like, I want to make a video on this, and it actually gives you all this background on how to do it. I think it costs like $10 a month or 15. So yeah. They talk about here, YouTube. So Shorts is averaging 70 billion daily views, and the number of channels uploading Shorts has grown 50% year over year. This is interesting as well because, there's something called RPM, right? And that's revenue per thousands. So with the typical like longer form piece of content, which is what I do, you generate between 2 and maybe 10. I won't say 10, but let's even break it down. Let's say 6, between 3 and 6, $2 and $6 RPM that a channel can generate, right? So that's like if you make a video, right, that gets 100,000 views. Of that 100,000, right, 100, right, times and we say it's at 5 RPM. You times 100 times 5, it's 500. That's how much you made. That's the RPM of it. Now, you're able to make more depending on how cool your content is, but it can go very high. I've seen as high as 10 or 14 when I've been doing some research on this. But the awesome thing is, or not the awesome thing, but the way it makes its money, I should say, is the longer the form of the content, the more it can insert commercials in, right? Longer form, more commercials. But if you have something like YouTube Shorts, well, wait a minute, that's a minute long or less, right? So how are you going to fit a commercial in there? So, you could do it when you're tapping in between, I guess, but, it's kind of like a weird space, right? So, and now you could do, of course, ads in YouTube Shorts. I actually buy ads for my clients on YouTube Shorts. But the question is when you look at the RPM, right? The RPM on YouTube Shorts is like, from my research, it's very low, my friends. It's like 10 cents. It's like really low. I would say it's even at the more extreme end, 50 cents. So how are you going to make any money on that? So I think what they're going to do is, my hypothesis is they're going to expand YouTube Shorts beyond a minute, right? Because right now it's 60 seconds. They have to expand it to like TikTok even now is like 10 minutes plus. I think you can even I think if you're a certain account, you get it to 15, but I definitely know you can get higher. So higher than 10 or at the 10 level. So it only makes sense that YouTube does the same thing. Because right, it's going to have to make money on that. So I'm looking for the day that will happen soon. I think that YouTube Shorts will be longer. Creators should be recognized as next gen studios. I couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly right. With all this like cool AI tools, it gives people a chance to really like create some compelling content, do cool things. And I think, I think more people are more excited to create their own channels now. It's a lot more mainstream. I'm creating my own channel. I'm really shocked a lot of my friends aren't, but I guess I'm the only one, which is fine. A lot of people like appearing on it, but nobody will put the work to create a channel. This makes sense. We're going to go on to number 3. So YouTube's next frontier is the living room and subscriptions. So I definitely agree here. There's a right now Google Ads. You can buy Google TV right now, actually. So with Google TV on that app, they actually open up to inventory where you can buy through Google Ads, Google TV specifically. And what's really cool, that just happened recently. So it's funny they talk about the living room. And then, of course, you can use the same first third-party data that you can on Google Ads. So, and that's more first party actually. But I think it's interesting they talk about that. And then they talk here about NFL. And then they talk, about subscribers. So subscribers is interesting because, there's a conspiracy actually that YouTube is putting in a lot of commercials because what they're trying to do is push people to get a subscription, right? That used to be kind of like the Spotify and Pandora model. Like they're throwing all these commercials in so you'd be forced to buy premium, right? I think it kind of turns people off, but I think it's a good way to motivate them to get an actual premium purchase. The next question is, well, what about ad blockers? But I think ad blockers still work. I don't use them because I sell PP. I'm in PPC, so I need to actually see the commercials of what's going on. So it's a debate, but I think that's the word is why you see so many commercials lately, because they're trying to push you into getting a subscription. It only makes sense. And then, like I said, I'm actually going to do a video on Google Ads and Google TV. So I think that's new and hip. Protecting the creator economy is foundational. Yes, it is. So here they talk about the election. They talk about deep faking and stuff like that. So it just talks about the responsibility to their users, right? So that's not about a bunch of like wrong content being disseminated. But one thing I'll mention too is Joe Rogan, right? Going back to the YouTube is in the living room. Joe Rogan just renewed his Spotify contract. So the issue with that is he's now allowed to post on YouTube, right? Well, it only makes sense because the average episode on Joe Rogan's it's in the millions, guys. I dare say it's 11 million or so. It's nuts. But like, say you have an episode of like, I was seeing this comparison about Anderson Cooper on CNN. The average Anderson Cooper prime time on CNN is, I think, 300,000, right? So why not fight for that living room, right? If you're going to have that kind of viewership, and if somebody like Joe Rogan's going to be on YouTube, it only makes sense to, for YouTube to push to have be on the big screen versus your cable. So I think and I think cable right now, my friends, is fighting for its life. I never thought I'd see that day. But yeah. So yeah, that's really it, my friends. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I just thought this would be a really cool video I could put together and something a little different on what's going on in the industry. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your views and your comments too. So thank you.